In helping to carry out the Sith grand plan to destroy the Republican Jedi, there was perhaps no element more important than the role of the clone troopers. Not only were the clones a crucial component to waging the galactic conflict of the Clone War to ultimately create the path that would allow for the Empire to emerge, but they were also the force used by the Sith to execute Order 66 and annihilate the Jedi. As Darth Plagueis and Darth Sidious realized within the Darth Plagueis novel, the Sith needed to create a trap for the Jedi where they were destroyed from within, where the Jedi's hubris and blind obedience to the Republic ultimately turned them into the enemies of peace and justice. In the end, the clone troopers and what they were able to accomplish would be the perfect endgame to the Sith grand plan. Therefore, it's not surprising to see that within Legends, Darth Sidious, in his new position as Emperor of the Galaxy, continued to see the value in Kamino's cloning program and its clone troopers after Order 66. As seen within the novel Dark Lord: The Rise of Darth Vader, within the first few weeks of the Empire, Palpatine would tell a group of senators, including Bail Organa and Mon Mothma, it was no secret the Empire's present army of clone troopers were aging at an accelerated rate. However, instead of immediately ending the program on Kamino and replacing the clones with stormtroopers comprised of recruits from within the Empire's own borders, Palpatine committed to supplementing and gradually replacing the current existing clone troopers with batches of new clones. These clone troopers would ultimately represent a smaller and smaller percentage of the Empire's stormtrooper corps, but without question, Palpatine continued to rely on clone troopers after Order 66 within Legends. But the same can't be said for Palpatine and the clone troopers within canon, where the Emperor would follow the opposite path and completely refuse to use clone troopers as part of his new empire. The fate of the clone troopers and the cloning program upon Kamino after Order 66 has been seen within a number of canon sources. In issue number 2 of the 2017 Darth Vader comic series, we see a group of clones discussing what was to become of the clones and Kamino's cloning facilities, where it's revealed that Kamino's facilities had been shut down, with the final batch of clones being trained, with no more to follow after that. As one of the clones correctly predicted, it wouldn't be clone troopers who fought the battles of the Empire. Issue number 16 in the same Vader series confirms Palpatine's decision, where it's revealed the Empire's Purge Troopers represented clones from the final production line on Kamino. And even then, these clone troopers weren't meant to fight within the Empire's Stormtrooper Corps, but serve as an expendable fighting force to assist the Inquisitorius. Unlike within Legends, Palpatine moved away from clone troopers completely, refusing to use them in the aftermath of Order 66. What was the reason behind this decision from Palpatine within canon? The answer to this question is seen within two canon reference guides, the Episode 9 Visual Dictionary and Star Wars Propaganda, A History of Persuasive Art in the Galaxy. The reason why Palpatine refused to use clones is found within the results he noticed throughout the Clone War. In producing the Republic's clone troopers, a tremendous amount of trial and error went into their creation upon Kamino, attempting to create the perfect fighting force, or at least as close to perfect as possible. However, despite the numerous alterations made by the Kaminoans, Palpatine was dismayed to discover a seemingly unavoidable truth. Kamino's genetically engineered soldiers continued to display disconcerting amounts of free will, no matter the changes made to the engineering process. This fact would be completely unsettling to Palpatine, given his ultimate plans and reliance on the success of Order 66. We have seen examples within canon where Palpatine's concerns are borne out, even after Order 66 and the execution of the protocol that forced the clones to carry out their attack against the Jedi, adding to those examples seen prior to Order 66. In a great story from within the Kanan comic series, we see a clone commander named Grey go against the propaganda and the effects of the inhibitor chip containing Clone Protocol 66 to actually save Kanan after the Jedi Purge. Grey was able to question the command given directly by the Emperor and recognize his Jedi general never betrayed them and was instead their friend and hero. In the end, even though he was created on Kamino to carry out the opposite role, Grey demonstrated just how the clones were able to act on their own, ultimately sacrificing himself to allow Kanan to escape, and in doing so, made things right. But there was another important reason why Palpatine was able to completely reject the use of clone troopers after Order 66 within canon, and this was dependent upon the galactic realities that emerged after the Clone War. In the first few months and years of the Empire, the Star Wars Propaganda reference guide reveals there was a boom in fervent patriotism after the war, where aided by Imperial military propaganda and agencies like Compnor, citizens of the Empire were encouraged to enlist in the Imperial Army and Navy. This succeeded to a tremendous degree, as volunteers enlisted in significant numbers, allowing for the clones to be quietly phased out and replaced. But it wasn't only important from a numbers point of view. As Palpatine and the Empire realized, those who joined the Imperial military could be considered much more consistent in their actions, and far more malleable than the troopers produced through cloning from a single template. Therefore, Palpatine had exactly what he was looking for. He replaced clone troopers who, through the existence of their free will, were considered inconsistent and unpredictable at times with stormtroopers, who were generally far more unquestionably loyal to the Empire, preying upon the galaxy's fears of chaos and separatism. I'll end by noting that even by the time Palpatine re-emerged upon the planet of Exegol within the Unknown Regions, the Sith Lords still chose not to rely on clones for use in the Sith Eternal's Sith Troopers. The Sith Troopers were not clones, which again went back to Palpatine's fear of the inability to engineer soldiers without a substantial amount of free will. Palpatine demanded fanatical loyalty, and the galaxy's cloning operations just couldn't provide such results. However, the Sith Troopers would benefit from the legacy of Kamino's clone trooper program in at least one important way. Every Sith Trooper would undergo flash imprinting and loyalty conditioning that went further than the techniques used for the clones on Kamino. This process was far more advanced than the earlier methods used, resulting in Sith Troopers who were exceptionally loyal and more machine-like than either the Republic's clone troopers or the Empire's stormtroopers. So there we have it, why Palpatine refused to use clone troopers after Order 66 within canon. Thank you very much to all of the Patreon members of Star Wars Reading Club, as your support is so greatly appreciated. You can find all of our social media links and a link to our Star Wars gaming channel in the description below for updates and even more Star Wars content. We love making these videos, so why not subscribe for more fun Star Wars theories and discussions. Also, if you enjoyed the video, think about giving a like or leaving a comment. If not for me... For Commander Gray.